year 2023 broke the record for encounters on the FBI terror watch list, with 151 people encountered at the southern border between ports of entry, higher than the previous 6 years combined. Meaning that just in this fiscal year alone, there were more people encountered at the U.S. southern border who were already on the FBI's terror watch list than the previous 6 years combined. And also, this all goes without saying that all these people from Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and so on, these were all the people who were actually caught. It might not be a stretch of the imagination to double that number in terms of the people who got into the country without getting caught. In fact, our reporter, who's been down at the border for the last several years, she was able to acquire some footage from Arizona showing this, what appears to be a Middle Eastern man with an entourage of armed guards crossing into Arizona on a caravan of horses. Now, it's impossible to know who that man is, but it's not a stretch of the imagination to consider that these higher level terrorists have the resources to spend $20, $30, $40, even $50,000 to hire these armed guards to cross the border without getting noticed, especially given the fact that it's been known for a long, long time now that the cartels work alongside these terrorist organizations already to traffic drugs. Here's, for instance, what a special agent of the DEA said when he was explaining how terrorist networks like Hezbollah work alongside the Mexican cartels.
Of the 68 FTOs, foreign terrorist organizations designated by the State Department, DEA has linked 25 of those to some form of drug trafficking or role in the drug trade. If you notice, IRGC was added last year in 2019.
And so, if they already have these working relationships in place to smuggle vast amounts of drugs, well, sneaking in a few dozen or perhaps a few hundred individual people isn't much of a stretch. In fact, just along that line, our Southern Border reporter recently had a chance to speak with Mr. Mark Morgan. He was the former acting director of Customs and Border Protection, and frankly, when speaking to our reporter, he did not mince words. Here's exactly what he told us. And by the way, as you're listening to this, just keep in mind that this man was an FBI agent for 20 years before being put in charge of U.S. Border Patrol. He was then later put in charge of ICE before becoming the acting commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection under President Trump. And here's what he said, quote, "The same terrorists that just carried out this horrific attack on Israel, their hatred and their unwavering commitment to do harm to the United States is alive and well. Nobody in their right mind can say that our border is secure. It's coming. It's coming. No one can predict, but what I will say is there could already be a cell in the United States planning the next terrorist attack, and we would have no idea." That's a fair statement. That's not hyperbolic. We have people in our own country that are actually supporting Hamas, supporting the actions of babies being decapitated, of being burned alive, of women being savagely raped and videotaped. When you have this deep-rooted, irrational ideology to be inspired to move to radicalization, then action can be very quick. Generally, it takes an event, and we have that now. Now, this story gets a lot deeper, which we'll get into right after I introduce the sponsor of today's episode by showing you this little piece of money.